Hello, I'm James Walsingham. I'm the newly appointed Fund Day chairman. And here today, we're going to sit here and we're going to discuss how Fund Day started and just have a nice long talk with Mr. Carter, and I'll introduce him here in a second, on that established Fund Day. And we're just going to talk a lot about the history of Fund Day and why we did it. And would like to introduce you first, Mr. Steve Taylor over here. He's the new president of the Wausau Development Club. And this is Mr. Dalton Carter, which is the founder of Fund Day and also the Wausau Development Club. And we also will have Mr. Joe Tharp, which is the gentleman that I replaced as the chairman of Fund Day. And he had a big play in this the Fund Day organization up until this point also. And without delay, Mr. Carter, I'd like to turn it over to you, and if you want to kind of introduce yourself and what made you, what give you the idea of establishing a Fund Day in Wausau?
First, James, let me congratulate you for being elected as Fund Day and Possum Day chairman. I founded the day, and I'll tell you more about it later, and I chaired it for 25 years. And then Joe Tharp replaced me in 1994, and he chaired it for 25 years. So it's been 50 years. Fund Day was started in 1970. Now, if you say that quick, it's short. But if you reach out there and get 50 years, a long time. But anyway, I want to congratulate you, James, and Fund Day and Possum Day is in good hands. But you asked me why, what was my thought about how did Fund Day start, or what was my thinking about it? I was a member of the Wausau Community Development Club, the same club that we're members of today. Same club, but different people. There's only 2 people living today that was there tonight that Wausau Community Development Club asked me to plan a Saturday afternoon event. It was a fish fry, is all that they was doing. Just a fish fry for the community. There's only 2 people living today that was there that night when Possum Day and Fund Day was born. And that's me and Dr. Merle Jones. She's a retired educator. A lot of people in Washington County in this area knows Merle. And she was a good friend of mine, and I really appreciated Merle. But the development club would just have a regular fish fry, and they'd also serve chicken because some people just don't eat fish and they'd want a chicken. And they'd have that event once a month. And people in the community would come down about 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon and just buy a plate of fish or chicken, maybe fellowship a little while and go on. And people in the community was so good about that. I remember how many hundreds of people would come to get that plate because the development club put out a good meal of fish or chicken, and people would come get that plate, and that's how they raised the funds. The Wausau Community Development Club asked me, said, Dalton, says, that was in July. They said, now in our August fish fry, would you be in charge of the fish fry event? I told them I would. And the more I thought about it, as the day began to draw near of our fish fry in August, I got to saying, well, now just a regular fish fry is kind of dry. I said, if I have some, maybe a little entertainment and one thing and another. And I'll tell you what I did, James. I was struggling with that thing, just what I was going to do. So there was a big old fat ladder stump back in my field and sawed off smooth, and I sat there and watched nature, enjoyed it many times. I went over to that old stump and sat down, not just one time, but a number of times. I sat down on that stump and I asked the good Lord, if he would inspire me and help me, guide me, plan a day at the Development Club wanted me to do the first Saturday in August. And I asked him to inspire me, give me ideas, and I promised him that I would plan a day, and as long as it was under my watch, that it would be a day that he would be pleased with should he come and want to participate in Fun Day with us, if I put it that way. And I promised him that. And so my first thought was, what am I going to name it? I says, I'll name it Wausau. I began to shuffle names and come up with Shindig. And I wasn't too satisfied with it, and I didn't settle on it. So one day I was back over there and meditating, and the word Fun Day come up. And somehow that hit me. I said, that's what I'm going to name that day, Fun Day. Now, the Development Club didn't know anything what I was doing. I was planning it on my own. And I says, I'm going to name it Fun Day. And the reason I named it Fun Day is I wanted people in Wausau and the Wausau community and the surrounding area, no matter where, is to bring their kids and let them enjoy one day out of 365 per year, have fun. Leave the troubles behind, forget them, and come one day out of year to Wausau, Florida, and have fun and enjoy life. And that's the reason I come up, and the first title was just plain Fun Day. The Possum had not got involved at that time. So I named it Fun Day. And I wanted to do something that the people of Wausau and the community could participate in. The kids down at Wausau had never got in a parade with their bicycles, their golf carts, riding the ox. There's some kids that rode an ox. Now I'm talking about back yonder, you're talking about the olden days in 1970. There was one time that some kids rode their ox through there, and little carts with the goats and so forth. And then another thing, the senior citizens of Wausau, they had a club at that time. There's some of those people that was 80 and 90 years old, I'm sure, had never been in a parade. And they was elderly people that had never did their thing. Everybody wants to do the thing. If it ain't nothing but making corn pone, calling a hog, crowing like a rooster, mooing like a cow, but give them something, a chance to participate. So what I did, I planned a day that people could come and enjoy a clean day of fun and give all the people in the Wausau area and the surrounding area a chance to participate. If you notice, I had some like rooster crowing and corn pone baking and all that stuff. And I knew that the more people that I could get in would be the more money that we could make, but the more funds we could raise. And so what we did, I scheduled, got it going, and I said, well, I was inspired to have a parade. And I said, well, Wausau's never had a parade. And I said, I'm going to include a parade. And there was a Wausau fellow that was doing gospel music on a local radio station in Chipley. I heard him that morning on the gospel show, says, they planning a parade down at Wausau, said that if fall flat in his face, that there won't be nothing to it. I heard him say it. But anyway, we had our first day. We had our first parade, and it was real successful. And what really inspired me and blessed my heart, I seen a pickup truck go by, and it had all the senior citizens of Wausau sitting in the back of that pickup truck. Then after a while, here come a pickup truck with a boat behind it with about 4 of my aunts, some of them 80, 85 years old in that boat with big old bass. Each one of them had a bass holder. That's them Taylor girls. Now, they could fish, and they had a mounted bass on that boat. I've got a video of it. My boy put it together with the, I got that. But getting back to raise the funds in the Development Club and all this participation that I'm talking about. But the Development Club was comprised of a bunch of community-minded people in Wausau, just like our club is now. And I'm so proud of it, I don't know what to do. Good young people like you and others, and we got a good development club. But they would be, a group of community-minded people would take those funds that we raised at Fund Day, take those funds, then at a business meeting of the club, those people would get together and pick out a project and see it come to fertility that would benefit the town of Wausau, and not only the town, but the community of Wausau. And then, like it's been mentioned, we give scholarships. We built the first chain link fence around there for the ballpark, and just a number of things that we did there to start with, and it was reinvested right back in the community where the people of Wausau and the community could benefit from their proceeds of that day. But that's the idea that I got. I wanted to do something. I was accused, and it was in the local paper here. There was a journalist from Sunny Hills. He was writing for a local paper. I was reading that paper one day, and I looked and it says, well, what is he going to run for now? See, I could see it coming. Yeah, they was going to see. He said, what is he going to run for? Yeah. I'm telling you the truth about it. I didn't like what I read, but I wasn't know what to do. I leave well enough alone, but I wasn't going to run for nothing. I had a good job with the DOT, and I liked it. And I tell you the reason I liked it, I worked with them 47 years, 1 month and 10 days. If I didn't, I'd have quit. But anyway, he said, now what is he going to run for? Fun Day is 50 years, it will soon be 51 years, 50 years old now. And I've never run for office in my life. I didn't intend to. I don't want none of it because I had enough of the public to put up with the DOT rather than being in public office. I don't want nothing to do with it. But anyway, that's some of the experiences that I've had. And it blessed me to see the people, my kind of people. I never lived in the city limits of Wausau. Never have. Don't even live there now. But Wausau is where I'd walk barefooted 4 miles to go over there and get me a drink out of Mr. Jim Cox's ice box where the block ice was floating, and them chocolate milks. That's what I wanted. That building's there now where Katie's Cafe is at. Right in the back of it, back there in the back, is where Mr. Cox had his drink machine. And my folks at that time, 1970, and my grandmother was raising me at that time, and they wasn't much money. But anyway, they'd be able to get a nickel, and it was my treat. I'd go back there and get my chocolate drink out of that box every time we went to town, and that was once a week to get us a few groceries. That we couldn't raise. But my kind of people at Wausau, and I wanted to do something for them, not just them, but the people of Washington County. I love it. I love my state. And my efforts, and I'm real satisfied. I had the self-satisfaction of seeing something with the help of the good Lord turn out successful. And you know what I done, James? As I sat back on that stump and I trusted the good Lord, I said, if I do something, plan it like I've told him to do, and stay with it as long as it's under my watch, it can't be nothing but successful. Right. And after all these years, and Joe Tharp, chairman of Fund Day, I tell you now, see, me and him together had 50 years of it. There's never been the first blemish against Fund Day, where somebody come and showed themselves and one thing. No, we just don't tolerate it. We pilot a tight ship down at Fund Day. In other words, I had a good relationship with every sheriff and law enforcement officer that had ever been in there since that thing had started. I rubbed shoulders with them, I'm buddied with them, and when time comes, they was down there with me, and we looked after it. And people could come to Wausau, enjoy themselves, and not have to worry about somebody disturbing them, kid playing, not worry about it, or some drunk or something. We don't put up with it. And if anybody ever thinks it, we still run a tight ship. If anybody ever thinks about doing something like that, they need to get their head on the shoulder straight. Well, we're not going to tolerate it.
Well, Mr. Carter, I want to let you know I'm one of your pupils, one of your first pupils. In 1970, whenever you started this thing, you planted a lot of seeds in me as a kid. Not only was I looked up to you at Fun Day, I got you those gophers. At that time we could run the gophers. Well,
yes, sir.
We look forward as kids, as for Fun Day, because some of us wasn't as talented in different things as others.
Right.
But you allowed everybody a chance to excel in something, which was it was important, because I can tell you on the receiving end as a child, those kids that we went around with was very proud of that trophy they got for rooster crowing.
Right.
Or they were very proud of that trophy they got for running their gophers.
That's right.
So you planted those seeds into me, and I couldn't be more honored to step in for you, because I can tell everybody too, I'm not running for office, so don't ask me. I'm not running for office. I'm taking this over because I have a lot of, my family is from Wausau. Not only my immediate family, but my family, like Steve over here. We were raised together, and we're both got an interest in Wausau. I'm not into it for the funds. I'm into it to make sure that we carry on the tradition that Mr. Carter established. I would like to see more things for the kids to get involved with, and I would like to see the churches in our community to help me get involved with those things, so we can plant those seeds, those good seeds that was planted in me by Mr. Carter. Maybe we can plant those seeds in some of the younger kids that are coming up. Steve, what's your memories of Mr. Carter?
Well, talking about the funds that y'all raised, and I remember going to my first fund day. I was 7 years old, walked 2 miles from the house up there to see it, and stayed all day. But me and James both we got to indulge in some of those good fruits, the baseball field and the press box and the concession stands and the uniforms and all, and that tradition still goes on today. But me and James and you and Mr. Tharp all are founded in Jesus and what the Lord wants us to do, and I think that's the biggest part of Fun Day, is keeping it in what is good in His eyes. But
James really was a blessing to me too, is talking about you two boys here. And it's really been a blessing. I'm on Facebook and so forth, and I got a lot of them old Wausau boys back there. They my friends. Like, I won't call their names now because I may miss somebody, but they always, compliment me, and I appreciate it. I was a little league coach, and I like to work with kids and boys like that, and maybe leave some kind of impression. It would help them in a way. I've taught Sunday school, and I've been in charge of other church programs where young people was involved. And if I could just leave one little seed planted that would help them, would be a blessing. But a memory that lasts forever with me is to see you boys when I needed those possums back there. I get y'all to catch me possums. I can see y'all now. I went down to Wausau, and just before dark, I could see some of the boys going with a little carts that they made themselves. It wasn't a red flower, these red wagons, and they didn't have that. They made them out of themselves. They made the carts themselves, and they had that possum cage in there. They were going to the swamp to set the cages. Mm-hmm. And then you'd look over there somewhere, and there would be old Dwayne Hanson. He was setting his over on Reedy Creek. And then I know your brothers, Charles and Johnny and them, would set them down there towards the gator hole or somewhere in that slough back in there. But that was, I'd pay them so much money for each possum, and them boys were taking the cages to catch the possum, pick them up a penny or two. But that's been a blessing to me, and seeing those boys work to catch the possums. And the first one that we ever had, the first fun day, was right there in front of the Masonic Lodge, right over in front of where Mr. Leewood's big old white house, and the church bought the property, and they demolished the building now. But the first fun day was held there in the back of a 1.5-ton truck, and had to build some steps to get up in it, and we had them built, and the entertainers got in the back of that truck, and they was around Mr. Lee's porch and everywhere else on that side. In other words, we had to sing across Highway 77 around the lodge, and Paul and Andy Mason's store is where people were sitting in chairs. That was the audience out there around the lodge and next to Mr. Arthur's store, because that's where it was going. And that afternoon, after we had an activity up there. It got over with about, we had a parade at 10 o'clock. And then we left, after we got through there, we went to the ball field that night for a ball game, just softball, and had the fish fry, you remember that I was telling you about. But we had a platform up there with some entertainment, the first one. And then the second fun day, we moved it and went down in front of Town Hall. And Mr. Eli Harrell was a contractor up here, and he sent us an 18-wheeler down there. Eli and J.T. Harrell was a Wausau boy. They was raised at Wausau. And Eli sent that 18-wheeler down there in front of City Hall, and we performed off on it. And that's where we had the first possum auction. We didn't have it the first. We had it the second one. We had a possum auction the second. We didn't have a possum king and queen until the third fun day. But we auctioned that possum off, and the late Lindsey Corbin paid $50 for him. We thought that was a choice possum to get $50. And Lindsey bought him for $50. And so after that, the late Rex Pettis said, Dalton says, we had a possum auction. Said, next year, let's select us a possum king and queen. So what I did, I was flexible to ideas, and I took him up, and that's where the possum king and queen come in. And we had that the third year. And Bruce Carter and Gil, Kurt Carter, their mother was the first possum queen we had. And James Wood, the old hog caller, he was the first king.
When did they have the first donkey softball game?
I don't know just exactly what year we had the donkey softball game, but that was the biggest drawing card that Fun Days ever had, is a donkey baseball game. And we had it for a number of years, and people loved it. They tell me now, says, either I imagine they mentioned to you, says, why don't we have the donkeys now? And that was the most fun to me. One of the most things. I got 2 or 3 things, but anyway, the donkey ball game, I really enjoyed it. A lot of people did, most everybody. But the liability insurance, when we first traded with him, the donkey man was out of Ohio. If he come down and we sold $100 worth of tickets, we got $50 and he got $50. We didn't have to, it wasn't a gamble. It was a split, 50-50. And then it worked that way for years and years. But then it got to where he told us, says, y'all gonna have to guarantee me so much money to come down. I don't remember offhand now, because my liability insurance has got so high to where this deal that I've been operating with y'all, and we understood, said it's not gonna be able to operate that way anymore. So we took him up maybe for 1 year, because we knew about what the gate proceeds would be, and we contracted with him, I think, maybe 1 year. Then it got out of our sight. We couldn't guarantee that man that much money, and so we didn't have the donkeys no more. And you don't hear the donkey ball game no more around it, because our liability insurance is just out of the world. Is my understanding. So that's the reason we had to quit having the donkey ball game, because the man's liability insurance got so high.
When I was approached by Mr. Carter and Mr. Tharp over there to take over as the Fun Day chairman, there was no COVID-19, and we were going to plan on having a regular Fun Day. And I asked Mr. Tharp, I said, I'm just going to shadow you this year, and I'll just learn the ropes. But it never happens that way with me. Even when I was in the Air Force, seems like everything that I reach out and I say that I'm going to do, I'm always having to change up things a little bit. And I'm not the type of person that will accept no for an answer. And when we were doing this thing, the fire department they've been running this thing because they had the folks to do it for a while. So they had been running the Possum King Queen contest and different things. And they decided that they wasn't going to participate this year. And being part of the development club, I just didn't like that answer. You know, I don't like to be told no, that we can't do anything. So we stepped in and we've been brainstorming, and we said, okay, we're going to do what we can possibly do. And things has changed through the years. So I brought up to the council, I said, why don't we go virtual with the Possum King and Queen contest? You know, we can do a Possum King and Queen contest at the studio, and we can still have a Possum King and Queen, and we can still have some fun with this. And the folks that can't come to Fun Day because of COVID-19, they can sit in their house whenever they like, drinking their soda pop, eating their popcorn, and watch the King and Queen contest. So that's where we're at on that now. We're going to attempt to have a parade. The Development Club has stepped up, and we've been working this diligently just about every day. We have a plan, and hopefully August the 2nd we will have a virtual Fun Day for the Possum King and Queen. And as long as the governor continues to say that we can have a parade, our goal is to have a parade so the kids can come out and watch the Possum King and Queen as they go down with the Shriners and the fire department and all of those folks that I looked up to when I was a kid. It was a lot of fun to watch that parade.
Absolutely. And James, my hat's off for you. You took the initiative on this virtual thing and really got it going and got the club involved in it. And the Development Club does more than just Fun Day. With this, the Possum Day proceeds we do scholarships every year that it's been doing for years and years. And this year things kind of had to change up because there's no school, and then we had to we redone the application a little bit to include homeschool students and extended the deadline, but we're still putting on scholarships for kids that wants to enroll in college and get a better education. So it's more than just, it reaches the whole county. It's besides just the Wausau community. And like I said, my hat's off for brainstorming this, and I really look forward to what it does pan out. We took over the brochure this year with the ads in it, and the club really stepped up and has done a magnificent job with it and really sold some ads and put some effort into it. And I really think we got a good club this year, and me and James just took on some positions of people that will never be replaced. Mr. Carter and Mr. Thorpe will never be replaced in the Development Club or in the community of Wausau or in Washington County. They're big shoes to fill, and I don't know that I'll ever be able to fill the shoes of Mr. Carter as president, but I'm going to do my best at it. But the guidance and leadership that these two gentlemen have give is going to go on for years. As long as they up for it, we just look forward to what the future holds for the Development Club.